but we are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup in this country. And when we don't call it that, when we soft pedal it, when we don't have a real discussion about it.
Okay, in this video, we will be covering all of the brand new meltdowns revolving around Elon Musk, DOGE, Donald Trump, and the White House. We have officially reached a brand new level of meltdowns because it seems like people cannot decide what they're actually upset about. So before we start this video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, and it helps others see the videos as well. Let us begin.
Why would the government stop Trump? Isn't he the head of the government? You're saying the government would be too small to stop Trump. If Trump's the president, why would the government, the bureaucracy, be actively trying to stop him?
Because they want to uphold the Constitution and creating an authoritarian dictatorship. That's why.
Okay.
And we're already
so you're suggesting
dictatorship.
So you're suggesting that the unelected bureaucracy should try to stop the elected president.
No, the people of this country, some who work in the government, should uphold the Constitution.
Okay, real quick, if you are unaware, Donald Trump signed an executive order which forces every single government agency to justify why they want to spend the money they are spending. So this allows for Elon Musk and the DOGE team to audit government agencies if they are causing waste, fraud, and abuse.
Are you suggesting that the president is not the commander-in-chief of the military?
I am suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right now, you're gaslighting. When we get to the actual rubber of the road of this, it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like who? What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge of the military?
The president is in charge of the military. That is how it works.
This is important conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm letting you have.
You can leave your comments down below how you feel about this conversation. However, you just witnessed a man on CNN not know that Donald Trump is in charge of the U.S. military because he just accused Donald Trump of potentially putting somebody else in charge of the U.S. military to try and change the government and try and change the Constitution. This is absolutely insane. I have never seen anything like this.
I don't think he has done anything in the first month that is outside the bounds of the power vested in him by the Constitution. He was elected president. We, according to the Constitution, vest all executive authority in a president. And the concept that the military should be an independent agency or that the bureaucracy should resist the political leadership of this government is extraordinarily dangerous.
That's literally not what we said.
I'm just repeating back to you your own words.
I did not say resist.
So it's interesting. Despite all of the meltdowns and accusations, and Donald Trump is the worst human on the planet, he's trying to shrink the government. What he's doing is illegal, yet Trump earns one of the best ratings he's ever had in the new Harvard CAPS/Harris poll. Essentially, he is very favorable right now with Americans, and people approve what he's doing.
As you all know, for decades, a group of DC-based journalists, the White House Correspondents Association, has long dictated which journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore.
This reminds me of how the Kremlin took over its own press pool and made sure that only compliant journalists were given access.
Okay.
Remember how I told you at the beginning of the video, people just cannot decide what they are melting down over? Now all of a sudden, people seem to be upset that Donald Trump and his administration want new faces in these press briefings.
Can we just address this dictator business? I'm going to quote from some statistics put together. So our old friend Chris Cillizza, who calculated that in the first month of the Trump administration, the president took 1,009 questions. Hardly dictatorial behavior. Same stat for Joe Biden, 141. And I would remind you all that in 2023, the Biden administration revoked the hard passes of 442 journalists. And at the time, the White House Correspondents Association took, quote, a non-committal stance. So if you're worried about transparency, Trump is being far more transparent than any recent administration.
Let me show you guys how much of an uphill battle this meltdown truly is. Only 31% of Americans still believe in the media. 31% of Americans saying they have any confidence in it, according to a Gallup poll. So again, when you have media members complaining and trying to write news stories that we are not allowed in the press briefings, please support us. The majority of Americans literally don't even trust the news, let alone care whether or not we swap out new faces to report on the news.
I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations. Moving forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team. Legacy outlets who have participated in the press pool for decades will still be allowed to join, fear not, but we will also be offering the privilege to well-deserving outlets who have never been allowed to share in this awesome responsibility.
So as you can see, on one side of the story, people are calling Donald Trump and his organization a dictatorship. They're trying to control the media. They're kicking out the legacy media. However, on the flip side, you have the majority of Americans who are just not connecting with this story. People are not understanding why this is even a big deal to have new faces in the newsroom. In fact, this to me is a very, very bad look to the Democratic Party and to left-leaning media to try and even report this as a bad thing.
There are, these questions about Fox's, as Fox radicalizes and as it becomes even more and more of a political tool. Zerwick, you wrote a column recently for The Sun about this, saying Fox should be viewed as a political tool. And that raises a question. Should it be a part of the White House press pool? Should it be afforded the privileges that come with news gathering? Even though they do have some news reporters at the White House, you're saying they're primarily a political tool. So should that be reassessed, Zerwick?
Listen, I really do. I think it's a discussion we need to have. Look,
this is why I love making these videos, because that is a clip from 2021 aired on CNN where you saw on the flip side, you have people affirming the same exact ideology in which people are now getting upset about. And we are all allowed to change our opinions and minds. I just find it very ironic that the same people who are getting upset about what's happening today with the new faces in the press, they didn't seem to be too upset about it back in 2021.
I would also think it might be controversial. People might think, how can you possibly compare what happened in Germany in World War II to what's going on here in the United States?
Well, we're talking about the death of a constitutional republic. That's what happened in Germany in 1933, 1934. And we're seeing today that you've got an administration in Washington that's ignoring court orders.
And no good business operator would take the slash and burn approach DOGE is taking. People's Social Security benefits are also at risk. Their ability to see a doctor is at stake. Their ability to put kids in daycare is at stake. The longer DOGE is allowed to rain chaos on the American people, the stronger the backlash will become.
This is why I feel very confident in saying Democrats are in a very bad position right now, and left-leaning media, because these are the same exact talking points we keep hearing over and over, that Donald Trump, comparing him to the worst human beings all the way back in World War II, and be careful, if you have Medicaid, they're coming after you. Again, these talking points, when you look at the statistics and polls, people are just not buying it.
Of the way things are. The Democrats are wrong by talking about resistance, because the public doesn't want resistance. They simply want these things done efficiently, effectively, and with accountability.
To empathize with people who say he's not doing enough, they're not doing enough. Every time she gave him that opportunity, as a gifted interviewer that she is, instead of saying, yeah, I can get why people feel that way about what we're doing. Nope, we're doing this. Nope, we don't need any more steel in our spine.
I mean, this is how bad it's getting for Democrats. I'm not even trying to form a narrative here. I literally just showed you a news anchor from MSNBC turn on Rachel Maddow, one of the top talents at MSNBC, for not pressing Leader Jeffries. Essentially, Democrats across the board, they are looking for true leadership because they want all of this to stop. They want more confidence in which they will stop Elon Musk, get more accountability, and do the things that Democrats want to do, but we are just not seeing it.
Well, the problem is it's having a consequence on real people's lives. We had 15 people today talk about their experiences, many of them Trump voters, veterans saying that they voted for Trump just 2 months ago. They're fired to doing jobs like helping other veterans. One person who worked at the Department of Agriculture said that he's expecting a new baby, and now it doesn't know how he's going to take care of his family. And they appealed to President Trump, as did I, to have a reinstatement because many of these people were doing good work.
Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was misinterpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and 2 neurons? So if you have a pulse and 2 neurons, you can reply to an email. This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is anyone could accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond. And some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual. So we're just literally trying to figure out, are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write an email?
If you are still watching this video, I really appreciate it. I'm really curious how you feel about this. I really think if there's one argument that Democrats truly have, it's the moral argument that this is not right, this is not appropriate. The way Elon Musk, he's just treating all of us like a number. He's the world's richest man, so he doesn't care about us average Americans. Now, for me, I do appeal to the statistics and polls where the majority of Americans don't really seem to mind or care because the majority of Americans don't have that much trust in the federal government. However, we do have to understand these are individual people who are losing their livelihood. So again, to me, I do think this is the best argument that Democrats have, or anybody who's against the DOGE team and Elon Musk. I'm curious how you guys feel about this. Now, I'm excited to say this video is sponsored by the movie No Address, which is a gripping and emotional drama that sheds light on the harsh realities of homelessness while celebrating the resilience of the human spirit. Now, the really cool thing about this movie, it features a Grammy award-winning singer-songwriter and actress, Ashanti. Now, the cool thing about this movie, they put their money where their mouth is. Not only do they address the homelessness issue in this country, 50% of net proceeds go to nonprofits, making an impact in local communities nationwide. So, No Address comes out February 28th. I will leave a link in my description if you want more information on the movie, want to go get some tickets, go check it out, go bring your family, go bring your friends. This is a very important topic, and this is an awesome movie. No Address comes out February 28th.
But we are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup in this country. And when we don't call it that, when we soft pedal it, when we don't have a real discussion about it, at least here, I could say those words. We can have that discussion, but you will not see those words in the New York Times or the Washington Post.
So, Jeff, if we were being honest, there should be a breaking news banner on CNN and MSNBC all day long. We are in dictatorship right now.
All right, now this story is rather interesting. Jeff Bezos is being accused of changing his publication's narrative, essentially to toe the line of Donald Trump and to sway a little more conservative. You guys can let me know how you feel about this. I'll let Scott Jennings speak.
George Soros is actually okay with different opinions.
There are more information sources than ever. We have the most democratized media that we've ever had. We have more people than ever that have access to disseminating information. It's not a bad thing.
One person at a time.
It's not a bad thing. And look, he has one paper. There's lots of newspapers. There's lots of ways to get information right now. I think what's going on here is...
So are you agreeing? I mean, I think that what they're saying over here is that Jeff Bezos is actually moving the paper ideologically in a particular direction. It sounds like you're saying that that is what he's doing because he's trying to create a niche for the Washington Post.
What I read, yes, I agree that he's trying to carve out a niche for that opinion page, which may not be a terrible business idea, and I don't know what direction he's going to move it. But these two big topics are vital topics.
It's ridiculous. It's not a niche at all.
It's not a bad thing.
I don't even know how to react to this story because it's so odd to be upset about this. I'll just say what Jeff Bezos said. I shared this note with the Washington Post team this morning. I'm writing to let you know about a change coming to our opinion pages. We are going to be writing every day in support and defense of two pillars, personal liberties and free markets. We'll cover other topics too, of course, but viewpoints opposing those pillars will be left to be published by others. There was a time when a newspaper, especially one that was a local monopoly, might have seen it as a service to bring to the reader's doorstep every morning a broad-based opinion section that sought to cover all views. Today, the internet does that job. So again, you guys can go look up this entire Jeff Bezos quote. But some people are saying he's trying to toe the line. Others are saying this is a complete business move. I don't even know what to think about this. To me, it makes total sense. Jeff Bezos is trying to protect his newspaper because he's realizing if you sway way too much in one direction, it probably doesn't work out in your favor.
We're seeing that Americans now are looking forward to perhaps a recession.
Can I respond to some of this? I've sat here patiently for this long speech. So it seems to me that Democrats are taking a three-pronged approach at attacking Donald Trump. One is openly rooting for the failure of the United States by wish-casting a recession, which is just an insane political strategy. Number two, wanting to pin their entire political future on keeping government as large or larger than it is now. And number three, continuing to claim that mass deportations or that getting the border under control is somehow a bad policy idea for the United States. I wholeheartedly hope that Maria is appointed to run the Democratic midterm strategy, because if you're rooting for recession, for illegal immigration, and for a larger government, you're going to take a bath next November.
And look, on this channel, I do have a bias. I am a Christian conservative, and I do want to point out, during the cabinet meeting, Donald Trump and his team and everybody else, they opened up in prayer, and I'm happy about that. But one thing I do want to say is this. It's quite shocking to me that on the flip side, what Scott Jennings is saying, I completely agree with it. I cover the news 24/7. I show you guys the clips every single day, and it's so odd to me. We are seeing the same exact talking points I have been covering nearly every single day. So if you are still watching this video, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys later. We still have a lot more work to do, and we're not done yet.